You know, one of the reasons I love doing this is that every once in a while, it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while you find a diamond in the rough. Every so often you're looking through, scrolling through the new releases and the stuff that's coming out, and you find a film that just kind of pops out at you, and you're like, well, that looks interesting. Let's go give that a try. And you never know, because I've done that, and the things are just boring or pretentious or an interesting idea but not really executed well. You're always taking a chance. But every now and then, you hit on something that makes you go, wow. It happened with Their Finest. It happened with Stan and Ollie. And it happened with this one. So this is a superb, sublime little movie. And I hope that people seeing this, however many people watch these reviews, I know of my loyal viewers, so for them, I know you will, but I hope anybody coming across this will seek this film out. Because it is, I don't want to say a masterpiece, but it is certainly a reason to go to the movies. It's a movie so good, I didn't mind that it was subtitled. That was one of the things working against it when I was thinking about it. Is like, I don't mind subtitle movies. I don't seek them out, but it's more just a distraction thing. As I always feel like I'm kind of bouncing up and down between the text and the visual, you know. And I never know if I can judge the acting well because I can't speak the language. So I always feel like that puts me at a disadvantage in critiquing it. But, I mean, it didn't hurt with Everybody Loves Somebody, and it certainly didn't hurt with this movie. So, if you haven't heard of it, which I'm going to lay odds you probably haven't, this is a film about Edmond Rostand, the author of Cyrano de Bergerac, as he is writing Cyrano de Bergerac. It is very, very Shakespeare in Love. Like, I don't want to say a ripoff or anything like that, but it's in that mold. It is very in that formula of the story of a writer writing one of his most famous works, and the life he is leading is mirroring the famous work, and that's what gives him the inspiration for the famous work. And, you know, wacky side characters that are complicating the famous work, but in the end everyone comes together because they believe in the famous work, and the little play that could becomes the masterpiece of the ages. You know, it's in that formula. Why that doesn't bug me at all is, number one, it's not like we see movies like this a whole lot. You know, honestly, the only one I can think of is Shakespeare in Love, and that was back in the 90s. You know, I was in college when that movie came out. So it's not like this is something we see over and over and over again, like a musician biopic. And secondly, I guess since the plays are different, the experience that the famous playwright is going through while crafting his most famous work is different. And if you know the play, you get a lot of fun little, oh, there's that moment, oh, there's that moment. So in the story, Edmund is he's a failing poet, and he, through a friendship with the actress Sarah Bernhardt, meets an actor who wants a play written. Just kind of by dumb luck, he comes up with a concept for Cyrano, being a guy with a big nose. Again, it follows the Shakespeare in Love thing of, you know, they want a comedy, but it becomes a tragedy. and everybody's got their 2 bits. The guys back in the the play want their mistress to play Roxanne. The lead actor wants his idiot son to play a part, even though the son has no interest in acting. The playwright is mixed up with a lot of stuff going on, primarily following the wooing a woman in another person's name kind of thing. But damned if it doesn't all work. Damned if it is not just the most charming and lovely film that I've seen in quite some time, honestly. I don't know. I'm not sure how to review this. I'm sitting here thinking of what do I say about this movie. Well, let's just get into it. I think to the best of my knowledge, the performances are all very good. It's hard to be an exact critic of it when, again, you're reading the lines and you can only kind of guess by the inflection of the actors' voices what's going on. But it's funny as hell. The dialogue is very quick, very witty. There's a lot of bouncing around. Kind of like with Their Finest, I'm an easy lay for films like this because, boy, can I relate. I'm a theater guy, you know. And while nothing I have written has ever become a masterpiece, at least not yet, let's not rule it out, watching this poor guy go through these things and people telling him, we need to put that in, you need to put this in, change that, do this. I like how when he first gets hired by the actor who's eventually going to play Cyrano, he keeps telling him, well, the play's not written yet. Well, just write it. The play's not written. Well, just write it. I've had people tell me that in my life. You know, it's like, well, I haven't written it. Well, just go ahead and write it. It's like, it's not that easy, you know? And I'm not even trying to write in prose like he was. There is a moment in this that I related to so much. And that is the early scene, the show's going up, all right, and they're out there acting, and Edmund has to go out into the hallway because the audience isn't laughing. He's like, why aren't they laughing? Why aren't they laughing? And he goes out into the hallway because he doesn't want to hear it. Man, can I relate? One of the first plays that I ever wrote that got produced, Why Harpo Never Spoke, which I've been thinking a lot about lately, honestly. Thinking a lot about it and the people involved in it. But I remember very distinctly, because I was in college, and, you know, it was a new play, it was a very personal play, and I remember being up in the light booth above the Black Box Theater, the Jerry Harper Theater at the University of Alaska Anchorage, and listening to the lines and listening to the audience and freaking the fuck out. Why aren't they laughing? Why aren't they laughing at that? Why are they laughing at that line? That wasn't funny. What's going on? You know, I had to step out into the hallway and sit that first night because I was so freaked out. So it was one of those things that, just being a theater person, you know, I see, and it's like, I've been there, dude. The best performance, all the performances were good, but the best performance had to be the lead actor's dim-witted son. He wasn't dim-witted. He just didn't like being an actor. He wanted to be a baker. And he's so bad. And like, even like with the language barrier, watching him kind of act badly was hysterical, and his facial expressions. And it was I don't know the actor, but I love him now. It's like, he was so funny and so good. And he was playing the villain originally, and Edmund asked him, was like, you don't like playing the villain, do you? He's like, no, he's not nice. And it's like, that's so sweet. Loved that guy. It was just excellent performance. And pretty much excellent performances all the way around. it's one of those films that, again, easy lay, but if that's a treat for people who either know the play. I know the play, I don't know it well. I've read it a couple times, but it's not one of the ones I'm as familiar with. I know enough. But just watching that, and of course just the drama, the hilarious drama of putting up a play, you know, and the lead actress falls through a trap door, and, you know, you got to send somebody out to do a fight scene who's never done it. You know, it's all these things that happen backstage during theater that you're just like, man, if the audience only knew. And, you know, so for theater people, which I imagine is who this must be for, because it is a love letter to the theater, it's gonna be an absolute treat. Is it perfect? It's not perfect. There are some things in it. So the main thrust of the story is that so Edmund is struggling to write a play. He needs inspiration. His friend Leo, who Christian is going to end up being based on, is in love with this girl who's a dresser for another show across town. And through circumstance, one night, you know, he's trying to woo her while she's upstairs. You know, it's the balcony scene, and Edmund is reciting the lines and all that. And it, again, basically reenacting the plot of Cyrano in the writing of Cyrano. So Edmund begins corresponding with this woman, you know, writing her all this love poetry, and she writing him back. He's already married. And it's this whole thing when his wife finds out that he's trying to convince her it's not love, it's inspiration, and I don't know. It's a thing. It's the part of the main plot, which is part of the problem. But it's such a moral gray area, and some would say not even a gray area, that, you know, he's writing love letters to someone who's not his wife, you know. So, but it's this area that just makes him a little less sympathetic, you know. And he says things to his wife like, I needed somebody who still believed in me, you know, but I still love you. And, you know, and it just, I don't know, that whole subplot, which isn't a subplot really, it's the plot, or part of the plot, I don't even know how to describe it, just doesn't, I don't know, it takes lovable and fun characters and, I don't know, splashes them in an unflattering light that is never truly resolved. I think that's the problem, is there's not really a resolution to it. Everything just kind of ends happily, you know, makes it easy kind of thing, which does kind of leave you going, what, huh? But yeah, so that's a problem with it. That is a problem, I'm going to admit. But here's the thing. The rest of the film is so charming, so well written, so fun, so full of little theatrical Easter eggs that, honestly, that part doesn't bug me that much. Like, I would honestly forget about it once it was off screen and something else was going on, because it was really that entertaining. There is such a great part in this for theater people. There's a great part in this where, okay, I gotta set this up. So to try to get the fat guy who doesn't want to be an actor, you know, the lead actor's son, to relax, the producers say, well, we gotta take him to a brothel. We gotta relax him. So they take him to the brothel, and Edmund, while he's there, strikes up a conversation with this other guy who's sitting across from Russia. And they're talking, and, you know, talking about writing, and he gets up to leave, and it's like, my name's Chekhov, Anton Chekhov. It was like, yeah, theater nerdgasm. I don't really like Chekhov's work. I'm just letting that out there now. But that was just a cool, like, man, again, very Shakespearean love. Like, whoever wrote this, whoever directed it, you could tell they are students of the game. This isn't a play or a movie about a play or a movie about theater or a movie about a play that just knows it by reputation and nothing else. These are people who have trod the boards, who have been on stage, I can tell, or they've worked closely with it. It feels it. It rings so true to all of it. I could go on for a long time listing all of the great little scenes in this and all the great little interactions. I worry that I miss a lot because you're trying to read and watch at the same time, which is not easy, but I don't feel like I lost anything. I'm not trying to oversell it. I feel like I'm overselling it. But it's a movie that I left feeling very happy. I left the movies this afternoon after seeing Midway feeling like, oh, God. And I left this one going, man, not only did I love the movie, but it makes you feel really good about what you do. Now I want to go back to my Tuesday rehearsals of my original play and just, come actors, come. We're doing a masterpiece here. This will be performed 100 years from now. But I think that's one of the things I really like about this movie, is that when you study theater or you study any field, the giants of it loom so large. The people that you study, the people who broke the molds, their names are, I don't think it's overstating to say their names are legend. And you tend to forget, especially, I don't know how it works in other field, but you tend to forget, especially in the world of theater, that sometimes those people writing plays, they didn't know they were writing a masterpiece. They were just trying to write a fucking play and get it up. Another example, the people making Casablanca was not their prestige picture. Casablanca was the film that, just another one on the slate for that year, and it was being rewritten on the day. They didn't know how it was going to end, as it was being filmed. Sometimes these things are not put together by divine providence of visionaries, planning their legacy. It's a guy who just had to write a play because he had to pay his bills. And it just everything happened to fall into place the right way. History isn't always turned by gods and monsters. Sometimes it's just the little person trying to do a simple task, and pieces tend to fall where they may. And it's fun to think of some of the great playwrights and whatnot like that. I'm rambling. Long story short, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Final grade for Cyrano with Love. It's an A+. It's an A+ for this one. Really one of the most enjoyable films I've seen all year. Best movie of the year? Not quite, but at least not yet. I mean, the year isn't over yet, but I am starting to formulate those top 10 lists in my mind. Starting to think about candidates, and this one's a contender. This is a contender for it. So, I urge you, theater people, anybody who likes a good movie, go see this. But especially theater folks, people with a love of the theater, people with a love of this play, go watch this movie. I don't care if you don't like foreign films. Go watch it. You will enjoy it. You won't regret it. It's well worth the effort you got to put in. So there you go. That is educational, independent educational research for number 3. Subject, foreign language and motion picture, and learning objective. Students will be able to relate classical works to real life situations. That's a terrible objective. That is a terrible learning objective. But it's good. Please go seek it out. All right. So, having a good time with these independent educational research films. I have one more day off on my 3-day weekend, and there is one more movie to see. And this is going to be an interesting one. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. So until then, thanks for watching, and as always, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.